Hey all, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Christina. I'm currently in my second trimester of pregnancy. For the most part, I share weekly pregnancy update vlogs. This week I'm going to give you an update on week 13 to 15. I'm currently rounding out my 15th week now. 2 days from now I'll be 16 weeks. I wanted to give you an update on what's been going on in the second trimester. So pretty much straight out of the gate into the second trimester, acne hit. I don't know if you can tell, but I started breaking out pretty much in week 13 and it's been pretty consistent ever since. Another thing that I've been experiencing that I did not expect actually was pain and tightness and tenderness in my uterus area. In my lower stomach, I'm feeling a lot more pain and tenderness, especially if I walk too much. As I shared in my previous vlog, I'm still walking at least 30 minutes a day, and I find that that's kind of my limit at the moment. Otherwise it becomes hard to walk because I'll experience like a pulling sensation or sharp pain, or basically feeling my uterus growing and the ligaments around it stretching. Sometimes it can be bad when I'm sitting down and I go to stand up. I have to like stand up very slowly. I can't just like become upright right away. I have to like slowly uncurl my body, and I'm already like waddling. I feel like sometimes when the pain's kind of heightened or more intense, I walk like I'm in my 9th month of pregnancy. So that was completely out of the blue. I had no idea that was gonna come about. I've never heard women talk about pain in their uterus area, so that was a surprise big time, and that pretty much was exactly on the onset of the second trimester as well, which makes sense because this is now when the uterus starts to grow, and so it's doing a lot of that. I have started this past week prenatal yoga, which I'm hopeful will help, because despite that experience in my uterus, I'm also overall my body feeling, despite the relaxin hormone that is pulsating through my body, which loosens your ligaments and all that, I actually feel a lot more like restricted and tight and not as like fluid and loose. So I started the prenatal yoga, and I'm hopeful that that will kind of loosen my body a little bit in terms of not feeling so like tight. So we'll see. I just had the first class on Wednesday, and it was awesome because it's more than just a yoga class. The instructor has been doing prenatal yoga for many years, has had kids herself. She's a postpartum doula as well, and she just has a lot of knowledge about what the body's going through and ways in which we can support it with yoga and other ways as well. But so it was really good. We started with a check-in on how everyone's doing. There was only 3 other women in the class at various stages of their pregnancy, and doing a little check-in and then talking about like the word's escaping me at the moment, which is also another thing I've been experiencing. My brain seems to be working a little differently than normal. Words don't come to me as easily. I'm a little bit more having to stop and think about what I'm trying to say. Like, it's just not an instant like here. So I just tell my partner a lot, because sometimes I say things that are like a little weird, and I'm just like, my brain is not processing the same at the moment, which I've heard, people call it pregnancy brain. I think it's real. I think it's something that does affect women, because I'm definitely experiencing a shift in the way my mind processes information and expresses information. So the prenatal yoga is nice. You do the check-in, you do she shares some information about certain areas that we're supporting. Like, the word is escaping me, and I know I'll look it up when I'm editing, and I'll show you what the word is. So that part of the body, we'll focus on in the class, and then she'll show some exercises, specifically postures, poses within yoga that support that. So yeah, it was really good, really nice to get that ball rolling and get the yoga going. And then also, like I said, I'm still walking 30 minutes a day at least, but that I'm just not pushing as much, because that is when I start to feel more sore and more tender in my lower stomach area. I haven't done an update since we had our last ultrasound, which is at 13 weeks. I did share briefly in the vlog with Andrew and I, where he talks about his experience in the first trimester. We had the 13th week ultrasound, which was specifically for genetic testing, but we really did that because we just wanted that ultrasound because of the previous miscarriage and what we were experiencing, some of the doubt and worry I had. We opted in for the genetic testing so that we could get that ultrasound, basically so that we could get that earlier confirmation that the pregnancy was progressing, the baby was still alive. That was amazing because within just 5 weeks there was such a change in growth, and to see this little baby was actually in there with its head and its 2 arms and its legs, and it was like we could see this, like the movement of the mouth was like sucking in and out, and it was like waving, and it was looking at us, and it was turning around, and it was just so amazing because it was like a real baby in there, you know? So it was awesome to see that and to have that confirmation. We had our second midwife appointment yesterday, and I got to hear the heartbeat again, and so we got another confirmation now in this week 15 that all is well, the heart's still beating, and it sounds really good, and it was awesome. And actually recorded that, which is what you heard at the beginning of the vlog here. Speaking of the 13th week ultrasound and the genetic testing, we actually just got our genetic testing results today. The genetic testing consisted of 2 blood draws. So I did the first one at week 13. We did, or it was before that, maybe week 10, 12, week 11, I don't know. Anyways, I did 1 blood draw, we did the 13th week ultrasound, and then we just did our second blood draw. So those 3 things together produced the results of the genetic screening. The midwife called today and said that they got the results late last night, and she wanted to call and let me know what they were. Everything was negative. There was no signifiers that there was any issues or any probability of, or a high probability of any genetic abnormalities or anything like that. So everything was negative. It was a huge relief. Really happy to hear that, although she did have some news regarding my HCG level, which was tested with the blood as well. It was a little high, apparently. So I think the normal range is at 4.0. Between 4.0 and 4.5 is more concerning in terms of they want to do more genetic testing. Mine was at 4.28. Sorry, they don't want to do more genetic testing, but basically because my HCG level was halfway to 4.5, they want to do further testing because that could signify a problem with the placenta, a problem with turning into high blood pressure, preeclampsia, stuff like that, which can cause preterm labor. I don't know too much about it. I just know that she said that my HCG level was a little high. So at my 20-week ultrasound anatomy scan, they're going to include a test where they measure the artery to my uterus to ensure it's pumping the right amount of blood. I think depending on that result, I'll either have to go see a specialist or they'll rule out any problems and it will be fine. So the number wasn't the highest, but it also wasn't the lowest. It was enough for them to red flag it and to say we need to do further testing on that. So great to hear that there was no issues in terms of the genetic testing. Everything came back negative. That's awesome. But now there's this thing, HCG levels a little high, so they need to do further testing for that. You know, of course, I'm hoping that mine's just a little bit higher. There's no problems. But we'll just take it one day at a time. Unfortunately, I have to wait now 4 to 5 weeks for our next ultrasound, which is happening at the end of November. So I have to walk with patience and ensuring that I don't get into my head about what this could potentially be, not go into a deep dive in a Google search, because oftentimes that gives you quite extreme answers of questions you're asking. So I'm just gonna really practice not going into my head about it and just walk each day as it comes and in my experience and what I'm doing, and directing myself in a way that I don't allow myself to get in my head about it, basically. Yeah, I wish I had some answers sooner. I wish the ultrasound was sooner, but it is what it is, and so I will just take it as it is and walk with trust and just, you know, practice keeping myself grounded and keeping myself present in my body and in my day, because I think ultimately that's going to be the best for me. Yeah, so then other than that, what I've been noticing also in the last couple weeks of the second trimester here is that I'm much more sensitive than I used to be. My partner and I are very playful, as you probably noticed in our last vlog together, and we like to poke fun sometimes and make jokes at each other's expense. And he was doing that to me this morning and the last couple days, and I was quicker to get a little bit more like upset about it and sensitive about it and like wanting to cry. So yeah, I'm a little bit more sensitive, I've noticed, more quick to take things personally. So it's a good reminder for myself to be aware of that and not to be so quick to trust those emotions of sensitivity where I feel like he's being deliberately mean to me or something, because I know he's not. And so it's a good reminder that, yeah, obviously I have a lot of hormones pumping through my veins and a lot of stuff's going on. My body's going through a whole process, and so it's dealing with it the best way it can. I have the whole emotional side to deal with as well, and so it's just a good reminder for me to say, don't take things too seriously, don't assume the worst, don't assume that someone is like doing anything deliberately to harm you or to make fun of you. I can use that as a cross-reference to ensure I'm not overreacting or assuming something that is not actually the case. So that's it for this week, I guess. What's next is, like I mentioned, we have our 20-week ultrasound about 4-5 weeks from now, and followed by our next midwife appointment. So we have this month to kind of just be with the pregnancy. At the last appointment, the midwife said that I should be feeling the baby kick soon, which she also said that I probably have felt it and I just brushed it off, not really knowing what to look for. But I don't know, I don't think I've felt anything yet. We'll see. I can't wait, because it'll be nice when that process kind of kicks in, pun intended, because then there is that daily reminder of the baby is in there and it's alive and it's thriving and it's doing well and things are proceeding as they should. So I'm definitely looking forward to this phase of the pregnancy, this second trimester. I'm ready for this bump to come in. I'm ready to just get big, and I'm ready to feel the baby too. So definitely looking forward to the next few weeks and the next trimester as a whole, and we'll definitely be back to share more of weekly updates about this pregnancy as it progresses. So thanks for walking with. See you next week.